Hi, Joey Krys here. Hey, I have a question for you. When was the last time a competent person inspected your fall protection gear? And do you know how often that has to be? Well, it depends on the manufacturer. Sometimes that could be one time a year, but most of the times it's going to be twice. Now, before you inspect your gear, and we're going to specialize on how to inspect our lanyards, the first thing you have to do is get on the manufacturer's website and see if maybe they've recalled one of the products you're going to be inspecting. When I'm teaching my competent person inspection classes, I tell the students the first thing you do is look at it. If it looks bad, it is bad. Don't waste any time inspecting it or looking at the tags or checking the stitching, because if it looks like this, it's done its job, it's time to throw it away. Before you throw it away, take a picture, document all the product that you actually fail as well. Another thing you have to look for when you're inspecting your lanyards is the color of the lanyard. Here we have a faded yellow lanyard, and what happens when the sun bakes it, it bakes the color off. How would I know? This was the yellow it was when it started, and now the sun has deteriorated the color. What happens is it dries the fibers, and the fibers will start to break. This will go for all soft goods. When you can see the fuzzy material that is on the outside, you know it's time to fail that gear, as the fibers again are starting to break. When you grab the lanyard, I look for the tag. If I can't find the tag, I have to fail it. Honeywell actually says that if one word is missing off the instruction tag, you have to fail it. That might not be the case for all manufacturers, but this is what's important about having the owner's manual of the product you're going to inspect. This is important because it will tell you what things you have to look for in that lanyard. Some particular manufacturers will tell you how many stitches can be broken in one run or how many can be in the pattern. Honeywell again says one stitch broken and you have to fail the gear. Other manufacturers might allow for 2 or 5. The reason for this is stitch patterns are all different between all manufacturers. The next thing you want to do with the lanyard is you want to inspect the connectors. Make sure that they're double acting. What this means is that I can't take this gate and push it and it opens. 2 functions to get it to work. In this case, I'm going to push the back and then the front, and then it works properly. But again, there's one that would connect onto the back D-ring, and then I've got 2 more that are at the bottom. Same process. Push the front, it shouldn't open. Push the back, pull it back, and then let it go. It should shut all the way. Once all the gates shut properly, now we have to move on to the next function. That would be inspect the nylon. Again, make sure all the stitching is in good place. Now we want to make sure that there's no abrasions, no cuts, no weld marks, and that would be evident by little brown spots on that nylon. Make sure that if you're going to weld or use a torch or cut hot metal, that you actually have a welder's style lanyard, and that is typically made out of Nomex or Kevlar. They'll say welder's lanyard on them. Sometimes they'll also have a pack that goes around and protects the shock pack on that particular lanyard. Make sure you have that right gear if you're going to do that type of work. Now, I work my way down here. Again, we've already inspected the hooks. We've inspected the material. All is good. How do we know if this lanyard has actually been loaded or somebody fell on it? There's multiple ways that these lanyards are made, and you have to understand which one it is you have. On this particular lanyard, it is a dual leg or a 100% lanyard. What that means is I'm moving across a structure, I'm always connected. I'm never disconnected with both lanyards at the same time. Now, understanding your lanyard, people see this and they think it's a bungee. In this case, it's not a bungee. What it is it's actually the energy absorber, although it can be confusing. Here is another sample of a lanyard that looks like a bungee, but it's actually just an energy absorber. There's no bungee material to this. If I was to connect this onto my back, which is where my D-ring would typically be, and then I took the other end and I connected it to that same breakaway spot on my harness, you will notice on the leg that potentially my knee could catch in it and I could potentially fall. So here's an example of a lanyard that actually has a bungee. They call it a 4 to 6 foot bungee. The reason for that is when it's connected onto my back and I take it and I connect it to my breakaway device that would be on my harness, notice where that strap is. It's above my knee. This now reduces the chances of a trip hazard. Now also, there is no external energy absorber. It is actually within the bungee of this lanyard. So how would we know if somebody actually fell on this lanyard? If there's no external shock pack, we can't see the material that actually came out. So here is a bungee lanyard that was actually used in one of my demonstration drops. I connected it to the person and then I put one leg and attached it to the anchor point. When the 280-pound mannequin fell, what happened is you will see that it actually made one of the legs longer than the other one. If you have a lanyard and you see that they're not equal in length, then you would know somebody loaded it and it's actually time to take it out of service. Now, OSHA says that you can have a competent person inspect gear and actually put it back into service, where most manufacturers say if you've fallen in the gear, it's no longer any good. The only time that wouldn't be the case is if you had an SRL, self-retracting lifeline. You could then send that back to the manufacturer, they could recertify it, and then you could put it back into service. So here we have a conventional style lanyard. It has the old style shock pack on it. If this block of material had come out up to 48 inches, we would know that this one has been involved in a fall, and again, we would retire it. Okay, let's review inspecting our soft good lanyards. First thing you want to do is look at it. If it looks bad, it is bad, take it out of service, and again, take a picture to document it. Second thing is, we want to look at the hooks. Make sure that the hooks are double acting, meaning two things to get it to open. And in this case, that doesn't happen. It's a single gate, meaning we would have to fail this. You also want to look at the tag. Remember, it has to be on the lanyard, and in some manufacturers' instances, you have to actually fail it if one word can't be read. Also, things you want to look for. If you're working around sealants or chemicals or paints and they get on your lanyard, you would have to fail it in some instances based on that manufacturer's goods. Again, it's the reason we have to have the owner's manual to every piece of equipment we have. So that's it for today's video on how to inspect a soft good lanyard. Now, if you'd like more tips, go to my YouTube channel, Fall Protection with Joey Krys, and we'll be uploading a lot more helpful hints on how to inspect your gear.